What's up, bros? In this tutorial, I'm going to be going over some tips and tricks when doing interior lighting in Octane. What's up, bros? I'm Matt Milstead, and today we're going to be jumping into Octane in Cinema 4D, and I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks in order to really get a scene looking nice. There's a few caveats with Octane when you're doing interior lighting, like portal materials versus portal lights that you would have in like V-Ray or Arnold or something like that. So really, they don't react the same way. So I found a few workarounds in order to really get this to work well. And so let's go ahead and jump into the project and I'll show you what I'm talking about. As you can see here, I've got this scene set up, and as a special incentive for doing the tutorial, you guys can actually find all of the, you can find this scene. We have added this to the website. So if you want to download the scene and go along with me, or if you just want to use the scene for whatever commercial purposes you want, feel free. Now, it is all in Octane, but yeah, it's free for you to use. So, as you can see, we've got an interior scene. I've got a bunch of windows. I've got 3 windows. It does have 4 walls. You can see it only looks like it's got 3, but if I go over here into my wall, you can see I've got a 4th wall right there that's just actually hidden. I used an object or a Octane tag in order to turn off the camera visibility, and then I just turn off the preview visibility. So, and then I've got a keyframe set for my Octane so that it always goes back, my Octane camera. Now I've got a camera in here. Let's go ahead and delete this tag just so I can start from the beginning with it. So we're going to go ahead and add an Octane camera tag to this camera. And let's see. So we'll save that out. And what we really want to start with first is getting our settings set up. So let's start off with our settings, and we'll do just our basic settings. Now, when you're working with interior scenes, the most important thing you do is not use direct lighting. I know that stinks. Direct lighting is so super fast, but really it does not give you the most accurate look as far as interior lighting goes. It will create almost like a bluish hue to it, and that's not really as realistic. That's not realistic. And the way that light bounces using path tracing or PMC is actually a whole lot better than direct lighting. So we're going to switch this over to path tracing, but we've got, yes, it will take a little bit longer than direct lighting, but we've got a few tips and tricks in order to speed up your renders. So first of all, let's change our max samples. We don't need 16,000. Let's stick with something like 1024. And if we need some more after that, then we can move on and we can up the samples at that point. But then let's go ahead and do diffuse depth and specular. Now, the problem is I don't see anything. So I'm not really going to have a good judge of whether or not I need to up the amount on the diffuse or the specular. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off this 4th wall, just so that I can get a good overview of what this looks like. Okay, so now let's bring our diffuse depth all the way down. And this is a little trick that that I learned online. Start with 0 and slowly move your way up. And then once you don't see a change, that's about good. So diffuse depth, we're going to slowly push it up. And in our path tracing, we see a little bit of change there, a little bit of change there. It's still looking like it's changing, and then I think right about there it doesn't look like it's going to change much. Yeah, so we didn't get much of a change between 6 and 7, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that at 7. Then let's bring our specular depth down. Now, you won't be able to see this too much because you've got, I think the only glass we have is this little ball right here. And then we're going to bring that up, bring it up, keep going. Okay, you can almost see through the ball. Let's do a couple more ticks. That's good, and then I think that's pretty good for getting rid of that, getting rid of all the specular. As you can see, we got a little ball right here. that's made of glass. So that looks pretty good. Let's see if we uptick it one more time, will that change anything? I don't think it actually made a difference. So I'll bring it back down just to save us some time. Okay, so next we're going to leave on alpha shadows. We're not going to worry about all of that. GI clamp, let's go ahead and bring this down. So let's start, and we'll start to bring it down, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down until you'll start seeing everything get dark. Okay, so that's too much. We're going to bring it back up, bring it back up, bring it back up until we don't see much of a change, and then just add a little bit more. Now what the GI clamp will do, it will help really like get rid of a lot of those little fireflies. So bringing down that GI clamp really is great for 1, speed, and 2, getting rid of all the little fireflies. Because we definitely don't want that. And in our Octane camera settings, we don't want to have to bring down hot pixel removal. We can if we need to, but really we should be able to get rid of the hot pixels just right out of the bag. Okay, so the rest of this we're going to leave the same with the exception of this adaptive sampling. Now, as you can see, I'm using Octane 3.06 Test 4.1, and that's the absolute newest one that they have come out with. I believe the Test 3 as well of 3.06 also had this adaptive sampling in the path tracing, but Test 4 you actually get it in the direct lighting as well. So what's awesome about the adaptive sampling is that it will basically push more samples for a noisy area. So in here are your settings for saying basically what's noisy and when do we want to start pushing more samples towards it, and so on. So our noise threshold is going to be the amount of noise in an area that we want like our threshold to be. So once it reaches like above that threshold, then we want to start focusing more samples on that. So our minimum samples is the point in which this adaptive sampling is going to kick in. So it'll do everything up to 256 samples, and then it'll start focusing on where that noise threshold is on the individual elements and start putting more samples towards that. Now our expected exposure, that's based on what our camera exposure is going to be. So once we go through and we change our camera exposure, then we can go ahead and put it in the expected exposure. But we can put that around 1 for right now. We'll just leave it there. Now group pixels, what that does is that selects a section of pixels. You've got none, 2x2, and 4x4. None is just going to be 1 pixel. 2x2 will be a group of 4 pixels, and 4x4 will be a group of 16 pixels. And so it's reading that whole area to see how much noise is in that particular area. Now, the best setting is going to be none, but I'm just going to go ahead and stick it with 2.2 right now because that'll give us a little bit faster. Okay, so we're going to click on adaptive rendering or adaptive sampling, and let's see, you can already see. Let's see, so right now we're running at about 51 seconds for 1024. Wait till it gets to that. Okay, 36 seconds. We're just going to let this kind of chew through so that we can see if there's any difference. And I don't know if we're going to see a difference right now, specifically because we don't have a lot of lights in the scene. But let's go ahead and click that on. That's about 36 seconds. 46. Let's see once it hits that 256. See 39. Still saying 39 seconds. All right, so I think right now it's about the same, specifically because we don't have any lights in our scene. So let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so we've got our settings set up for our render engine. Now let's go and set up our specific settings in our camera tag, or in our camera. Yeah, so Octane camera, I've got a brand new camera tag on here, and then I'm gonna go over to camera imager and click on the camera imager. Now, that didn't do anything right away because all these settings are default when you have this clicked on or off. So when you click it on, then you can change your settings. Now, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to change our response. We are wanting to work in a linear workflow. The linear workflow is the best way to really get to be able to work with color the best, because as you can see on this the default AGFA color Futura 100 CD, I've always noticed it kind of gives it like a greenish tint, and I don't really want to work with some sort of response. It's okay whenever you're just like doing normal logo spins or something like that, but if you're going to be doing interior scenes, you always want to work in linear. So I threw linear, and the first thing we notice is it's super dark. That's because in linear mode, you need to make sure that your gamma is set correctly. So here, our gamma is at 1. We need to change that to 2.2. Now you can see instantly that 1, the scene looks a lot brighter because we changed that gamma, and 2, it's not as like yellowish green as the default one. So let's go back to the default one, and we'll go there. You can see it's kind of got this greenish tint to it, you know, versus our linear mode with our correct gamma kind of has a little bit warmer, like maybe a little reddish blue to it. But this is what we're going to want to work with when we're working with interior lighting, specifically with Octane. Actually, when you're working in a linear workflow, you want to do a linear response, and you always want to do the gamma at 2.2. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Let's go ahead and start with a sunlight. So I need a light in order to be able to turn off this wall. Actually, no, you know what? Let's not start with that. What we want to do is, you can see right now all these windows, they're just blank windows. Now, they also have a little bit of, that's just the non-texture. Okay, so we've got these blank windows, and we want to turn these windows into glass. Now, this is one of the biggest things with Octane that took me forever to get my head around. With any other render engine like V-Ray or Arnold or Redshift, you have portal lights. So portal lights, basically you set up behind your window. You set it to not be seen by your camera, and then you set it as a portal light to where it kind of like, it takes the light that's coming in and it spreads it a whole lot evenly, a whole lot more evenly. But they don't have that in Octane. Octane, they have something called a portal material. So in order to create a portal material, you go to Create, Shader, Octane, and then Portal Material. So on that portal material, you'll see as I throw this onto my glass, it will go straight through. And then let me go ahead and add that to all my glass on the rest of the scenes. So we'll go into Window Small, and I've got my glass set up here. And then I'll go into my big window over here, and I will throw my portal material on my glass. Now, here's the number one thing that's kind of annoying about Octane and interior lighting. There's no reflection on this glass. In any other render engine, what you would do is you would actually put a glass texture on the actual glass and then shoot a portal light through it. This, we're actually using a portal material, but we're not getting any glass reflection like you would with normal glass. Now you would say, okay, Matt, well, just go ahead and throw a glass texture on there. Okay, well, let's do that. But you see, then it just turns into glass. Okay, so, which is okay, but the point of using portal lights and portal materials is that it will evenly disperse the light instead of just throwing it through. And you'll see, I'll show you an example once we get some lights behind these, that it will just blow out your scene if you've just got glass. So what do we do if we want to add some reflectivity to it? Now this is a workaround until they get this fixed. But something I've kind of come up with, what you can do is you can create a new glass material. So we'll just go ahead, shader, Octane material. We're going to make a specular material. And then we're going to bring the transparency or opacity down to 0.2. So at 0.2, and then let me see what I did here with this. Oh yeah, actually, okay. I did do that. Okay, so then we're going to bring our index down to a full mirror. No, that's not right. I apologize. Okay, we are not making a specular material. We are making a glossy material. And we basically want to bring it down to index of 1 because we're doing a full mirror. So on this, we're basically creating a full mirror, and then we're bringing down the transparency to about 20%. Now, as you can see, I did that here and put each individual plane, I put a plane in front of, just slightly in front of where the glass would be. So what it's doing is the lights are going to be shooting through the portal material. It's still going to disperse. And then we've got the reflectivity on the plane that will give you that reflectivity. So as you can see here, it now looks a bit much more realistic because you've got that glass and you've got that reflectivity. So let's go ahead and now start lighting the scene. And now that we've got some windows, I can actually turn back on that fourth wall, and you'll see it gets a lot darker, which is fine. We're gonna we want the light to bounce how it would actually how it would in real life. So let's start with a sunlight. And so in here we're gonna go to object daylight. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this down in my lights and cameras. And then I'm going to rotate this up until I get this sweet little gobo look, where you've got it shooting through the window here, the door here, and then it's creating the little crisscross here. So let's go ahead and bring that down. I want that to basically match up with the floor right here, and I think that looks really good. That adds a nice warm feeling to your actual scene. So, and the biggest thing about interior lighting or creating interior scenes as it is that you want to add detail. Detail will absolutely sell a scene. If you don't have a lot of detail in there, it just won't feel as realistic. So being able to shoot through this and getting this little gobo effect on the floor, that can really help sell it. So from there, we're going to go ahead and add some lights around our individual windows and stuff. So I'm going to do an Octane area light, and then we're going to move this right behind this window right here. And we're going to fill it up all the way. Let's go here. Bring that down. Okay, now let's bring it just a little bit closer, and then we'll go back to our scene, and now you can see it in here. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and click off normalize. When you're working with, I've found when you're working with interior lighting, you almost always want to turn off normalize because you want to be able to work with the lights without. If you set a light here and you set it for, say, 6500, which is outdoor lighting, and then you put another light in and you've got normalize clicked on, it's going to adjust the lighting if you change one or the other. And we don't want that to happen. We want individual control, and we don't want it to adjust the way the other one looks. And then we're also going to turn off surface brightness. So in that, on our tag, on our visibility, we're going to turn off camera visibility. Now you see here, we've got good light coming through. It's dispersing it really well, like it would because of the portal light. And then we've got the reflectivity from the lights. Now I want to show you something real quick. Let's go ahead and turn off the mirrored glass, okay? And then we're going to go to our door, And we're going to just go ahead and put in some glass where the glass is instead of that. Now look at that. It freaking blows it out. And I'll tell you why. Because in Octane, when you're shooting a light through glass, there's no way to turn off that light through the glass. You actually just see the light the whole time. So by putting glass in there, we may get the reflectivity, but it's going to completely blow out our scene. So best practice is to have the portal material on the glass and then go ahead and add the mirrored glass in, and then you don't actually see the light in the background. So that's how you keep the lighting and the realism of the glass going. And that really, to me, that was the hardest thing to get my head around, was how to do this correctly. Okay. So let's go ahead and add a couple more Octane lights in order to put them right behind their windows. Let's see, my daylight. Oh, here's another thing. On our tag, we actually want to do shadow visibility and turn that off. Now, you see we get a much better picture, and we get to keep that kind of gobo look from our Octane daylight. And we will go in and like adjust all the power on all of these in just a second once we get them into place. So I'm just going to hit Command and just duplicate this particular one. Bring it forward, rotate it. There we go, 90. And then bring it out. Bring it centered. Make it smaller. And this is the same type of thing that you would do with just about any other render engine, except for you would make these lights specifically portal lights. And then let's bring it in right there, and that should be good. And then, okay, this light, and then this light. I'm gonna duplicate this light using Command. Make sure it's facing the right way, 180 degrees. And then we're just going to line this up against this window as well. There we go. We'll go in here, and now you can see we've got a much brighter scene. And so we're going to need to bring down all of the lights quite a bit. So let's go ahead and start with bringing them all down to about 25. Which I actually think that looks pretty good. So the left side we're probably going to want a little bit higher because it's got this light here. We've got the gobo kind of thing going. So let's go ahead and bring that up to 50 and see how that does. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay, now another thing that we can do is see this recessed lighting that I added up here? We want to make that actually like show up. So normally with something like this, in like V-Ray or Arnold, you would use IES lights. Now, IES lights in Octane don't work that well. They're super, super noisy, and they just don't look that great. So, you could also create a spotlight. Oh wait, Octane doesn't have a spotlight. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Well, Brograph actually offers a spotlight for sale specifically for Octane. So let's go ahead and bring in this spotlight. Lights and cameras. And then as you can see here, we've got the cool little spotlight, and we're going to go ahead and put one on each of these individual let me go ahead and turn off the show in scene here, so then we can see the actual spotlight. There we go. So we want it to go down like that. And then within our spotlight settings, we've got all the awesome settings that you instantly get with a regular spotlight in cinema. You've got your cone width, your fall off, your focal distance is just for like a visual aid. You've got your power, your temperature, your sample rate. So we are going to bring in our cone width a little bit, and we're going to add a bunch of fall off here. Maybe bring that up to like 25. Let's see. Okay, that's really good. That's really good. Okay, so then let me turn on one of these lights so I can actually see. And then we're going to put this light up in our little spotlight. I like using the Brograph spotlight in Octane whenever I have some sort of light that needs to project like this. I would much rather do this than IES lights. Now you'll see here, this is one little thing that you need to change in the spotlight, is this source size, and we need to change this to 0. So the source size is 0, and then you won't get that shadow up there. So let's just go ahead and duplicate these lights, and we're going to put one on each of the individual recessed lighting. Let's go ahead, throw these in spotlights. Now, if you want the Brograph spotlight, it is $69, and I use it all the time. Now, also that comes with it, it's our Luminous plugin. You've got a spotlight, you've got a softbox, a ring light, quick sky, which is fantastic. Anytime you're modeling, it's great to just throw in a quick sky. And then quick cycle wall, and then also an IES tester, to where you can just throw in a whole bunch of IES lights and instantly see what they look like instead of having to deal with the other way of looking at IES. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and grab 2 outward ones. That one and this one. Nope. Yes. And we'll duplicate those. I'm just hitting Command. And then we're going to turn down all these lights because we just want a little bit. So spotlight, let's do our power at, say, now let's bring it down even more than that, 15. And we'll see if that makes our scene too bright. I think it's a little too bright. So our power, let's bring that down to 10. Still think it's a little too bright. Let's bring it down to 2.5. Oh, we could change our temperature. Oh, I think our normalize is on. No, normalize is not on. Okay. It's just we got a lot of them. Oh, no. We didn't do these 2 lights as well. All right, let's go ahead and grab all of these lights. Grab all the lights. Then we'll bring that down to 10. See how that looks. That looks a lot better. Yeah, you just get a little bit of light over here. Maybe we could even bring it up a little bit more. Let's do 20. See how that looks. So, realism in interior lighting, it all comes from just these little tiny streaks of light and different shadows that are playing off of each other in order to make it look more realistic. Let's bring that back down to, let's split the difference and go 15. And then in our camera, let's go ahead and bring down our exposure just a bit to like maybe 0.75. Oh, that looks a lot better. Yeah. So you get that light coming in here. Let's do maybe like 0.7. That's pretty good. And I think we could probably bring up our spotlights as well. Maybe to like 20. Let's see what that looks like. I like that. I like that. Okay, that'll work for me. So, we've got the recessed lighting. It's shooting down, you know, our spotlights, our Brograph spotlights and stuff. But here's one thing, like, you can't really tell where the lights are coming from. So we've got these recessed lighting and stuff, but we really want to actually like show it. So what we can do is we can create a new emission material. So we'll create a new material, and then in our emission, we're going to do a black body emission. And then in our recessed lighting, we've got just a tube, which is the outside of it. Let's see if I can find the actual. So I'll zoom in here. You see we've got a tube, and then we've got a cylinder on the inside. Real simple for the recessed lighting. We're going to want to throw the emission onto the cylinder, so you see it actually casts some light. So now I think it's going to cast a lot of light. And let's go ahead and throw these on each of these individual cylinders. Make sure that my render instances is on. Okay, and you see we get a lot of noise. Let's go ahead and go into our black body emission settings. Oh, look, normalize is on. So let's turn that off for one. And then cast illumination is okay, I think. Let's make sure it doesn't kill it too much. That's not too bad. What happens if we take on surface brightness? I think that actually brings it up. Yeah, then you start getting all the reflections in everything. So now you can see you've got these spotlights, and you actually now have a source for the spotlight. It's not just some random, light somewhere that you're seeing over here. It gives it the illusion, say this light here and this streak here, it gives it illusion that there's a recessed lighting over here. And actually, I want to adjust some of these spots. The ones at the front, I want them to actually point inward a little bit. We're going to cheat this to where we're actually shooting kind of on the wall. Okay, it's there. Cool. All right, so we've got all of that on now. Let's go ahead and turn this on. I'll turn our daylight on, maybe. Nah, it's going to blow out our scene. Okay, so now let's see how this looks. Yeah, so shooting it that way, you can kind of see it creates this nice little just like different type of lighting so that you can see like, okay, I think that your mind makes you think that the light here is going here. So it gives it, you're tricking yourself into believing that it's much more realistic. So that's really the few like caveats with Octane rendering. Really, like the glass and getting the glass to look much more realistic is the hardest thing. But with just the simple like ability of adding the portal light, which evenly distributes the light, as well as your windowed mirror glass, adding that mirrored with the 20% transparency, that really helps sell it. Now, another thing that you could do, like I've got here, is I created 3 little planes that I believe are not casting shadows. And then I've got them, I just threw like kind of a background on them. And within the texture on them, you can see I've got a little background, just one that I found off of Google, just a little background. I did surface brightness, but I didn't do cast illumination. I did it as an emission texture because I didn't want to do it as a regular texture, just a regular diffuse, because I want to give it that blown out look. Because if you look at a lot of interior lightings, you can see like a big difference between outside and inside, what it looks like. So I blew that out quite a bit. Now, if you don't want it to be so much, you can go into your camera tag and you can actually bring down this highlight compression. Come on. And you can see it's not blowing it out so much. You see once I do it there, it compresses some of the highlights and makes it a little bit like more evenly lit. So yeah, that's basically it. So the biggest thing is that, especially with those mirrored glass, you want to be able to see the reflections and stuff, and it just helps create a much more beautiful scene. Also, just the many details that you can add, as much detail as you can add to your scene really helps sell it, especially with the spotlights. And I would recommend staying away from IES lights just because they're so noisy. And then just filling up your scene with really pretty stuff and a good composition as well will help really sell an interior scene. But when it comes to lighting, you know, you want to stick with your portal materials. You want to add that mirrored 20% transparency mirrored reflection in there for those reflections, and you really want to use some good spotlights instead of the IES lights to get those just random streaks of light and stuff like that. So until next time, I'm Matt Milstead. This is Brograph. Check out our podcast, our YouTube page, hit us up on Twitter, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.